Dashing through the snow on a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bottle ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. There you go. I'm Sabyasachi Mukherjee, sitting in my garden in Calcutta. Well, not garden, this is my garden office. 47 years of age, uh, sitting at home for the last 1.5 years. So I was born in Calcutta, but I went to school in a French colony called Chandannagar. So we have two French colonies in India, Chandannagar and Pondicherry. I didn't learn a word of French. Uh, Hindi was my elective. But the beautiful thing was I went to school in a hand-drawn boat. All the children used to, sing Rabindra Sangeet, and we used to actually pass Tagore's summer house, which was in the banks of the river. It was quite a magical childhood. I think everything I am today is because of those little journeys to school, my friends, my teachers. It was just magical. So my father was the manager of a wool mill, and we lived in a very, very beautiful old British mill. So it was a gated community. We had our own ferry and our own launch. We had tennis courts, swimming pools, squash courts, a club where my father was a librarian and I was his assistant. He was a voluntary librarian. We used to have magical Christmas parties. Women used to wear organza sarees with hairspray on their hair, and they used to play mahjong. Men used to play bridge. It was quite magical. It was a little formal, but yet at the same time there was a lot of fun. We spent our summers, playing football and cricket, pitto, which was something that's a very Indianized game, and basketball, volleyball, and we all swam in a little pool that we had. We did our own little picnics. It was quite beautiful. It was magical because of the fact that it was idyllic. We were secluded. We didn't have much, so all we could depend on was imagination. I went to see a movie called Anusandhan, which is a Bengali with Amitabh Bachchan, and I was very embarrassed because I think I was over 5 or 6 years old, and when Mr. Bachchan comes on a donkey, or I don't know if it was a horse or a donkey with a big Mexican hat. There's a man who stood up and clapped and said "Guru aa gaya," and I didn't know if that was the norm. So I stood up on my chair and I clapped and I said "Guru aa gaya," and my parents were very embarrassed. Oh, I think I cross-dressed as a child because my mother wanted a daughter and she got a son. And so she fulfilled all her fantasies by making me wear frocks and bows and maybe a little bit of jewelry till the time I was 3 years old. I don't have any memory, but that's what she said. She said that he lived in women's clothing for the first 3 years of her life. My mother is very creative. My sister is creative. My mother went to government art college. She used to teach fine arts, and she used to teach cooking. And she used to. I remember she used to monogram my father's shirts. He was quite a good-looking and a very handsome, hip man. My mother used to make his clothes, and she used to make clothes for me, my sister, and we kind of learned tinkering of fabrics from her. So I remember when I was very young, I used to actually cut off my father's socks and make clothes for my sister's dolls. I didn't know that socks had lycra, so they would stretch, but it would help me mold uh, them around the dolls and make bodycon dresses with safety pins and glue, and it was quite magical. When I was in when I was in standard 3, I wrote a script. It was a very subversive version of Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. I wrote it like a screenplay with props and with costumes and with music put in, and I showed it to my arts and drama teacher, and she looked at it and she said, who wrote it? And I was very scared. I said, I did. So she just disappeared into the staff room and didn't come out for 30 minutes, and then she called me, and all the staff was staring at me. All my teachers were staring at me like I was some sort of a freak. I was very scared. I didn't know what happened. And they looked at me and they said, would you like to direct the play? I I didn't know how to react, but I was in standard 3 and I directed plays where I was casting students from standard 6, standard 7. They allowed me to create the backdrop. They gave me props and theater costume people to help me with costumes and everything. So that was my first attempt at creating something that was artistic. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I certainly didn't want to do fashion. I didn't know what fashion was. But then I applied at NIFT. I got through. I said, why not? Because my parents wanted. I was very good in studies, so my parents wanted me to do either medicine or engineering, like good old Bengali middle class boys would do. I didn't want to do that, and yeah, fashion happened quite by accident. My parents were only disappointed because there was no proof of concept. We had no fashion page. We had no fashion reporters. It was not even a business. There was no fashion weeks at that point of time. So my parents were, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to throw a good education to become a darzi. I was quite a bad student in NIFT, to be very honest, because I was curious about, education bored me all my life. I was a good student, but I didn't believe in the education system in India because it makes you very myopic. I would always, my attendance was bare minimum, so I could make through class. I used to have friends, who used to help me with my homework because they would be very devastated if I didn't make it to the next grade. Uh, but I had a modeling agency. I started a modeling agency. A lot of my models became very successful. I used to choreograph a lot of fashion shows in Calcutta, and we used to do it everywhere. We used to do it in small clubs, in bars, in shabby little hotels, and they were magical days. I enjoyed that part of fashion because it was glamorous, bohemian. I was more interested in what happened outside the fashion school rather than inside the fashion school. I learned the tricks of the trade. I got a lot of job offers from a lot of Indian designers, won't name them, but didn't want to do it because I wanted to have my own identity. And so, yeah, my conviction saved me. My father taught me everything. He used to take me. I saw my first adult film because of him. He said, if you grow up with me. He used to take me. He used to take me away from school to show me Disney films. I used to get sick leaves from school where my father used to come and take me during half time to see a matinee film. He taught me to survive, and he still is one of my closest friends. He's helped me build my business. He put structure into the business. He's a chemical engineer who knew nothing about business, but we both learned everything together. And there was a long period of depression that I went through where I dyed my hair. I I I punked up my appearance. I used to go. I remember I went to Trinkas pretending that I was Madonna's assistant, and I stood on a bar table and I sang into the groove very badly, hoping that they would audition me to be a bar singer. And my father sat through it all, drinking his beer, and thinking that maybe one day my son is going to get some conviction and direction. But he always knew that I would be special, and he held on to it. Nobody. I don't like bothering people. I always see that I'm doing a show, and on the models are getting ready and the makeup is getting done, and that's when I start making the clothes. And then I'm yelling and screaming and shouting at everybody that the clothes are not done, clothes are done. It's exactly the opposite of what happens in real life. Our clothes are done well before the show, but I think it's my control, my situation of control that makes me do these things. I dyed my hair orange for her, and What I liked about Madonna was the fact that all her life, I don't consider myself to be very talented. I would call myself mediocre at best. But I worked very hard to be where I am. And when I look at Madonna, I like the fact that somebody with mediocre talent could become such a big powerhouse in the world. Yeah, I think that's the power of conviction. She taught me that if you have the drive, anybody can be somebody, and I think that was a huge lesson. I've grown up with women wearing saris. My mother, my grandmother, my mother's friends used to only wear saris. They played tennis in saris. They rode buses in saris. My mother's friends used to hang out of buses in saris because buses in Calcutta used to be so crowded. They used to sleep in saris, and I remember my grandmother tying a little knot at the end of a sari towards her ankle so that the sari would not ride up while she was sleeping. And it's so seamless. That's the only garment that I ever knew for the longest time in my life. So it's through osmosis, it's the only garment that I really really want to kind of keep continuing forever and forever. Customization. I hate customizing clothes because I think that when you're a designer, people should pay for your voice, not their own. Then they can go to a tailor. I think we don't create controversy for the sake of controversy. It just happens. But it makes you take a back step to understand and assess the situation. And it actually makes you sensitive to what people think about you, what people have to say about you. You learn to become more tolerant. So in many ways, yeah, it does affect your creativity for the better. People think I'm rude. I'm actually very shy, and I'm very how do I say it? Actually a big introvert, so it becomes very painful for me to exist in this industry. Yeah, improve yourself every day. Yeah, it happened in Xavier's. I used to wear a lot of blue, white, and red, and I was very thin. And somebody commented that I looked like the Pepsi Cola bottle, and the name stuck. And the funny thing is that my neighbors gave me a dog because they were shifting, and the dog's name was Pepsi too. And so every time my friends would come down the colony and yell my name, and my dog used to jump out thinking that he was being called. I don't know if I would call it hobby, but I practice a lot of Vipassana. When I come back home, I switch off my lights and I would just sit somewhere quietly, and I feel it's really beautiful to be able to spend time in silence. Cinema Paradiso. It's a movie that I go back to again and again and again because it's just so beautiful. And it's about friendship, value systems, love. It's about believing in what you need to preserve. It's such an iconic movie in so many ways. And, it makes you want to see the world through more better eyes and a better mindset. To be strong in your mind, one needs to be patient, one needs to have conviction, and you need to control greed. I'm very detached, like I love making money, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't motivate me personally. In the sense that, sometimes, money is a marker of the fact that you're doing well. I like growth, I like commerce, but I like it from the perspective of the fact that it energizes an entire industry, gives jobs to people. But on a personal level, I don't have much use of it because I have a very simplified life and my choices are very clear and simple, and I have clarity about what I want in my life. So, I could have money or I could not have money. It doesn't really matter. And I sing one song at almost at every situation. I don't know. It makes no sense why I sing it. I sing it in summer. I sing it in monsoon. I sing it in winter. It's my feel-good song. It's Jingle Bells. And I don't even know why I sing it, but it just makes me happy. I would do rice, ghee, dal, and aloo ka chokha. A Bengali mutton curry and rice. Chocolate. always. I think my entire life is made of them because of the fact that the reason why they are is because everybody loves them, and I'm quite universal in my things. Like I like things that everybody loves. So I would like Tintin. I like Betty and Veronica. I like hamburgers. I like idli dosa. I like a chocolate ice cream. I don't like things which are off the chart. Like I don't get very inspired by unusual things. I get inspired by things which are usual and everywhere. Yeah, maybe my campaigns where all these girls are standing with their hands folded. I think it's done to death. It's been copied so much that I think that we should now move on and find a new language. Color, Frida Kahlo, my thyroid medicine and my coffee. Mishti doi, that's easy. Yeah, Golgappa any day. Puchka, we call it puchka. Puchka, white. Print, Kolkata. That's not even a choice. Going to school on a boat. Sunlight, the color black. Smile, coconut oil, perfect sun, and a sea beach. Like I hate being boxed by an idea of what people think Sabyasachi is, and I think I constantly try to push boundaries, whether it's about gender issues, whether it's about clothing, where like I think people perceive Indian designers to be a certain way, and they think that if when you do something outside of that, it's almost like blasphemy. I want to be able to shed that image so that people can accept me the way I want to morph every day of my life. By inspiring people to be themselves.